Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi back here with OddsJam. Appreciate Randall filling in for me here to give you some NBA player prop best bets for today, Monday, February 2nd. So I was out a couple days. I don't have a ton of information to recap, but I do remember the Thursday's NBA player props. I had 4 picks total. Those went 2 for 2. I got Luka's under points, rebounds, assists to hit. I lost the 2 Caleb Martin ones, his over rebounds and his over made threes, both lost. And then I also got Terry Rozier, his over 3.5 rebounds to hit as well. So completely broke even on those 4 player props based on how the odds shook out. Both ones that won, I won 75. Both ones that lost, I risked 75. So completely broke even on these player props. I have 5 for you today that we can get right into. The first one, that we're going to go ahead and lock in here. I have already locked this one in. Is Jordan Poole over 23.5 points. This bet is at -110 odds at BetMGM. This one has been locked in, as you can see right here. So I would have liked to put $82.50, which is to win 75. So it's you risk $82.50 to win 75. So for unit sizing on this one, obviously limits are a huge part of, you should see what points bet lets me get, and we'll get to that. But for those of you who are not limited, it's to win 0.75 units is the unit size here. And in terms of the mathematical profitability, the no-vig odds, everything is kind of derived from these no-vig odds here. Can find this at the no-vig odds have this, at -113. BetMGM offers it at -110. So that gap is where your profitability comes from, right? The no-vig odds, you can view these numbers as the true line of what a market should truly be priced at. The reason why? It's because they're pulled from the sharpest sports books in the world in terms of pricing odds, the sports books that consistently do the best job at pricing odds. So when it comes to sports betting, not all sports books are created equal. Some sports books do a better job than others at pricing odds. The reason why? There's a ton of reasons that go into it. One of them is just how much action that they'll accept. So I'm heavily limited on a decent amount of sports books. The sports books that heavily limit are generally the more square, short sports books. The reason why? They limit how much action they accept. Therefore, their odds don't accurately reflect the market, right? If a sports book has no limits, they will update their odds to reflect sharp action, which accurately reflects the market, which the square ones do not. So OddsJam pulls lines from the historically consistently sharpest sports books and then uses them to pretty much set the market moving forward on future/current betting opportunities that we can currently lock in. Kind of, if you want to think about it from like a holistic view, it's kind of like, okay, these X amount of sports books consistently do the best job at pricing odds. Instead of trying to be better than the sports books, let's just let the sports books work against each other, find out the sharp ones, use them to set the market. And if we can get better odds than these sharp sports books, then that's going to be a profitable betting venture in the long run. That's how positive expected value betting works. To go back to my bet tracker, I've been using it for about a year and a half now. Starting slow in February, I'm down as of right now, $12 in February, but overall, as soon as this loads, all of the information or all the bets that I've placed since I started using OddsJam feed into this bet tracker. And we actually made some really cool updates like the sweat station. You can make your account public. Like I will have my, account link in the description of this video. So if you want to view my bet tracker, you can. But I'm up almost 25K since I've been using OddsJam, which is obviously incredible. My 4% ROI profit margin is pretty good. It was a little bit higher recently, when I first started, had some downswings. It's been hovering between about 4 or 5% since. Really, really good. And it's all from positive expected value betting. So I'm not saying you're going to win every single bet or that these are all locks, but that it's something that will be profitable in the long run. So Jordan Poole over 23.5 points is my first play. My second play is Jrue Holiday under 5.5 rebounds. This is at -110 odds at PointsBet. So I mentioned heavy limits. PointsBet let me get $2.75 on this one. Again, I would have liked to risk $82.50. PointsBet said no. They let me get $2.75. But again, for those of you at home, should be 3/4 of a unit. Pretty similar in terms of value on this Jrue Holiday one versus the Jordan Poole. OddsJam perfect line prices this at -113. PointsBet is giving it to us at -110. So the gap between these two numbers, that is where your profitability comes from. And then what you want to do, and I do this for every single bet that I place, every single positive EV bet I place, player prop or non-player prop. If you just click anywhere into this field where it's highlighted blue, you just click your mouse, it pulls up where every sportsbook prices odds for this play. So the goal of what we're trying to do here is just identify, is the bet that we are placing an outlier compared to the majority of the sportsbooks or not? The reason why, if we're betting on an outlier and this outlier is in our favor, right, which just means higher payout, the sportsbook is an outlier in terms of what they are charging for this play, that's a sign that that sportsbook has those odds priced incorrectly and that it should be priced closer to the majority. And since in this case, PointsBet is charging, basically, if you want to think about it, they're charging the least amount of money than pretty much every other sportsbook for this individual play. So the most likely scenario here is that PointsBet has this priced incorrectly. In terms of sharp sportsbooks you want to look at, excuse me, Pinnacle's number one. They're the most favorable on this one at -146. That's a good sign. BetOnline is another good one. They have this at -128. That's 18 cents lower. That's a good sign. DraftKings is decent with player props as well. They have this at -130. And then we see like FanDuel is the only one that's close at -118, with the rest at -145, -145, -136. So all in all, if you're just looking at this logically, you're not looking at it with any knowledge of sports or sports betting. You're just saying, hey, who's the outlier here? What strikes you as being something different than the rest of the sports books? It would be PointsBet. And the fact that that difference is in our favor, meaning, again, they're charging less money for it, the line should be priced somewhere closer to maybe the average odds, -134. Well, it's still 24 cents lower than what PointsBet is giving us. So this -110 is a really good price. So that's play number 2, Jrue Holiday under 5.5 rebounds. Next up, we got Robert Williams over 9.5 rebounds. So this is labeled on PointsBet as 10 plus. I locked in this one as well. Obviously, they didn't let me get a ton of money on it, but it's labeled Robert Williams to get 10 plus rebounds at +125. They let me get $2 on this one. Lovely. But it is a really good play, and I will lock it in and just curse at the limits. OddsJam perfect line. The no-vig line of this is at about +123. Again, if you want to compare the sharp sports books, Pinnacle +108, BetOnline at +110, DraftKings also at +110. FanDuel, again, is the only one that's kind of close, but it's still, it's 10 cents lower, so it's not closer to PointsBet. It's just the closest at +115. And then we see +105 on BetMGM, +106 on Caesars. Getting a really good price here on PointsBet for Robert Williams to go over 9.5 rebounds. Again, 0.75 units on this one. This is play number 3. Play number 4, we got Jalen Green under 3.5 rebounds. This is at +102 at FanDuel. OddsJam perfect line prices this pretty much almost exactly at +100, which is even money. So if you bet, and even money just means like 50-50 outcome. So if you bet 1,000 bets at +100 odds and you win exactly half, you will have broken even. If you win more than half, you will have profited. And in this case, +102. So if we win 50% of our bets, we will be profitable. And if you look at where the majority of sportsbooks price this, so again, not again, but we can ignore Underdog and PrizePicks. They're DFS companies. They have the same odds for every play, implied odds. Look at the rest of the sportsbooks. Pinnacle is the highest on this at -123, heavily favoring the under. BetOnline is not as heavy, but they are favoring the under. So we're getting something for plus money that both BetOnline and Pinnacle think is the more likely outcome, right? They're charging more money for the under, which is them telling you they think it's the more likely scenario. And then the majority of other sports books as well, aside from BetRivers and FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, BetMGM, all favor the under, with PointsBet having it at -110. So not favoring the under, but still having it significantly more priced more expensive than the FanDuel line. So this is a really good price at FanDuel and BetRivers. So I did lock this one in for the full 75 because they let me. Jalen Green under 3.5 rebounds. As my fourth play, and my fifth and final one is Jaden Ivey over 1.5 made threes. So this one I unit sized down a little bit. I guess I got to log back in here. I only put half a unit on this one, which is $50 as opposed to the full 75. The reason why, there's two. Number one, this number here you see on the far right associates market width. The higher the number of market width means that the more juice being charged. So you generally want this number to be lower. Now, I consider anything for a player prop to be lower, anything 40 and below. So 51 is high. But if you remove the VIG from the majority of sports books that price this play, this plus 159 is still positive EV. So it's not a bad play entirely. It's just a little more risky. The odds are more likely to swing one way or another. So I did lock this one in, but as I said, I put half a unit on it as opposed to a full unit. But it still is a good play, so I'm not saying you should avoid it. Just unit size accordingly. OddsJam Perfect Line prices this at plus 157, essentially. And again, if you remove the VIG from the majority of these sports books, like every single one, the no VIG line is below plus 159. So it is a good play to pretty much every sports book, which is why I locked it in as my fifth and final play. And that's going to be it. So appreciate everybody watching this. If you're tailing, comment and let me know. Other than that, like, subscribe, comment, helps me out personally a ton. And then on social media, you can find me on my Twitter handle. Should have mentioned this at the beginning, but as you see on the screen here, at Jedi Modai. I'm on Pickett at OddsJam_Matt. And that's it. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.